Welcome back. I'm Alan Taylor. This is Jeff Allen. We're here at the Shell Pioneering Performance Stage, and we have a historic car here to talk more about it. We've been talking about it a lot already.
Historic.
Mark
Incredible.
Gessler, president of the Historic Vehicle Association. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And then Dr. Frederick Simeone. He's the executive director of Simeone Foundation Automotive Museum. And let me just start out, first of all, Mark, can you give us a little history on that $20 or so million car back there?
Well, its place in automotive heritage is epic. This was probably the last time that you could build something, just a couple of guys, and go out and beat the world. So this brought back, for the first time in 50 years ago, the World Manufacturers Championship to America. So what we're doing is celebrating America's automotive heritage, and this is all about sharing this with everybody. It's sharing it with America's people. And we want to make sure that these stories are well recorded. And the things that we're looking at and the criteria for the National Historic Vehicle Register are association with important events like this World Championship, association with important people. I mean, Peter Brock, Carroll Shelby, Craig Breedlove. I mean, the list goes on, and unfortunately, a lot of the folks aren't here with us anymore. In addition to that, it's design and construction value. So, I mean, it was Pete putting that down on paper and really going against all of the aerodynamic ideas at the time. And in fact, Carroll Shelby brought in one of the top aerodynamicists in the world at that time and basically said, it's not going to work. So it was intuition, it was some good ideas that made it all happen and made this open car, a closed car, faster than anything on the planet at the time.
By the way, if you guys don't know it or not, but there's Craig Breedlove and Pete Brock right here signing autographs, and make sure you come over and grab a poster and have them sign it for you. It's an epic opportunity right there. Continue on. This is too great not to tell the world.
And the last thing is information value. In this case, this is a wonderful artifact. If you go over there and take a look at it, you can see that there's still salt around. There's still salt up in parts of that car. We know that. And it's thanks to the great stewardship of the Simeone Foundation Museum, the insight that Fred had to really start to take cars and not to restore them, but to keep them the way they were.
Preservation. Gotta love that. And this is the first on the National Register, right?
This car was the first car that we put on the National Historic Vehicle Register. Now, this program is a joint program with the U.S. Department of Interior and the Library of Congress. So this is being recorded the same way the Statue of Liberty is being recorded, the same way the space shuttle is being recorded, and we think that automobiles, and especially automobiles like this, need to be recorded in this manner.
So Fred, can I call you Fred? Please. I love you,
Please
man.
do. Okay,
Thank
buddy.
you, by the way.
Anytime, buddy.
And this to me is it really is that important. Tell us about you and why you decided to do this.
Well, the standard for automobiles classically has been to restore them to perfection, which is great, and it's especially good if you have a car that's beyond repair. On the other hand, like fine art, fine furniture, some cars have survived in good condition, and they bear, I think, a little bit more affiliation with the builder. Like they say, the beauty of the vase is not only in the clay, but in the potter's hands. If you have a car that's the original guys touched. So we've been trying to preserve those. I think you should mention, because it hasn't been brought up, the reason that this car is iconic is, number one, it was the first American automobile ever to win the World Championship of Makes. And for those who don't know that, the World Championship of Makes is like the World Series, the World Cup, the Super Bowl, all put together. And then after it was just about a forgotten car, Craig took it out to Bonneville and set 23 national records, as you heard, which have been on the books since 1936. So with all this history and the fact that we happened to find it originally in this condition, that's why I think it belongs in this.
Where did you find that?
It was locked away by, as he knows, locked away by a not necessarily stable person for 30 years. And she refused to let anybody see it. It was in California.
Even Carroll Shelby couldn't see it.
She would only talk to Shelby through a screen door and threw him out
Yeah.
when he wanted to see the car.
I mean, can you imagine that? Carroll Shelby comes to your door and you're like, I'm throwing you out, sir.
You're out of here. I love
You know what's neat about what you're doing is cars can only be original once. And that car is so well preserved because it was in a storage unit for so long.
Tell us about, just give me a couple of words on each of those gentlemen, Pete Brock, Craig Breedlove.
Well, you know, interestingly, again, coincidentally, they're about the same age, and they both did their masterwork when they were 26. That design that you see on the Cobra, and I hope you all go look at it, was sketched on a piece of paper. And against resistance, he had Shelby let him make the car. It's a picture of a regular Cobra that we all know, a roadster, with that body on it, is 20 miles an hour faster with the closed body. All having to do with
how important design is.
Aerodynamics.
Design and streamlining and all that. And he figured this out as a boy at 26.
This is before wind tunnels and all that,
Right.
I assume, right?
He did it all with logic. Now, getting back to Craig was also 26, and he inspired me once. He told me, you know, I'm a kid from California. What can I do for America? And he remembered Kennedy saying, ask not what your country can do for you.
Wow.
He said, what can I do for my country? I'm a 22-year-old kid. The land speed record was always held in Europe, mostly by England. He said, I want to break that record. And with the tools that he learned in high school, welding tools and things like that, plus a used jet engine from World War II, he set the world speed record. And he was the first to go not just 600 miles an hour, but previously that 500 miles an hour.
Where is your museum located?
The Simeone Museum is in Philadelphia. Please go online to simeonemuseum.org. It's a charitable museum, and it's got a lot of neat pictures, and maybe you want to come out sometime.
Guys,
thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you. Mark Gessler, Dr. Frederick Simeone, thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you.
All right, I'm Alan Taylor, and Jeff Allen will be right back.